All right, GameStop GME stock. This is taking a look at the big short squeeze and the crazy situation that's going on. I just checked out the site isthesqueezesquoze.com, and it tells the short float percentage that's being reported is above 50%, but it says a bunch of the shorts have been closed over the weekend. Not exactly sure how that happens unless the company issued shares, and how do you buy them on the weekend? I don't understand how the numbers changed over the weekend. And them closing all their short positions to open definitely wouldn't be throwing it in a downward direction. So that seems pretty fishy. I don't really get it, but let's talk the trading chart because I was checking to see if it picked up some kind of higher bubble line, and it didn't. It did not. So we're just still in this zone, and this is Brian Lewis with MMT Investing, and things just changed. Please hit the like button for me. Just looking at the AG silver stock and talking about the silver squeeze, which Wall Street Bets, not financial advice, has said is not their doing. Like, they deleted those posts as spam. They're like, the whole silver squeeze thing is not related to the Wall Street Bets short squeeze or anything. Like, Wall Street Bets people aren't moving to silver. That's what everyone's saying inside of the thing. But it looks like some of the shorts are closed. People are saying, like, we're kind of scared of this thing now. We don't know if there's fishy stuff going on. How are they closing shorts without it going up? Blah, 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 all that stuff. But all I see is a pretty basic bubble trend line. Oh. Awesome. I had a cord plugged in that was not, that's why the screen was dark. Okay. So I had a cord that wasn't plugged in. Yeah, anyway, blah, 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 blah. That's all talk about different stuff. But this is still on a bubble trend line, and I think there is still a move here. The volatility on this stock is so crazy, though. If you try to do a call option, it's going to be really expensive. I much prefer the call options on like AG right now, because that AG is kind of like in this area where it's just first taking off, and there's a lot of bubble activity that you could trade. This one probably will get another one, but it's a little ridiculous and kind of crazy. I don't know. The whole movement and whatever. It would, I guess, be fun to say that you traded it. I mean, I traded a call option like Thursday, Friday last week on this move, and then yeah. Anyway, this thing's just crazy risky. The premiums on call options are ridiculous, to where it's like really hard to make money. People are saying buy stocks and buy the call options on this to create the gamma squeeze. So, like, when you buy the stocks up, then there's no stocks available for the short people to close their positions. And then when you buy the call options, you put, especially if it's like way out of the money call options, and I think there's strikes at like 700 or 800 available now. When you buy way out of the money call options, then the market makers have to buy shares up to hedge the option position. So that's the gamma squeeze, is the market makers have to buy shares against your call option when you place it. So it's like 100 shares. Not that they have to buy exactly 100 shares, but they figure out the math on the volatility, and they have to buy up options. But then the higher it goes, they keep having to buy more and more of them up. So that's the gamma squeeze. As it goes up, like if there's tons of call options, like it exponentially increases how many shares that the market makers have to buy to hedge those calls. And that's the whole bubble gamma squeeze thing that everyone's talking about on the short squeeze. And then there's the gamma squeeze on the market makers on the call options, but then also the short position, like people that want to close their short positions, they're way upside down on these shorts, losing a crazy amount of money. But they have to buy shares to close the shorts also. So like every part of that pushes the stock up, plus everyone else is buying all the stock. So it's not, there's no shares to even buy. And like every part of that just pushes the stock up. So that's the idea here on this one. Yeah, I was just looking at AG and the silver squeeze and all that. And like there's some short interest on AG, but it's nothing close to this. I mean, this thing was like fraudulently short, naked short at 140%. And apparently there's 50% short positions left on it, which is still a lot. And it looks like it's still on a bubble. Anyway, this was what I was looking at here, is coming in to this range and just picking up this support line again, because we hit it like 6 times here, and this pull down popped right on it. And then everyone's freaking out, talking about market manipulation and all kinds of stuff like that. And it's like, I mean, it's just the volatility zone. Like it bubbled off of the bull line. That's a pretty typical thing. Like it bubbled up off the bull line and then it broke back down to the line. Like it's not that crazy. And it tapped it, so it's like shows you where the line is, and I think that's a good line to trade on actually. But yeah, as far as call options, I think they're going to be ridiculously expensive. But I'll take a look at them and probably not get one. And I don't know how, I mean, I don't know how fast this thing would blow up again. I mean, if you got, yeah, if you bought like a 1 week as far out of the money as you could go, that's probably the cheapest one you can get, and it's still probably ridiculously expensive because the stock's at 230 and it's crazy high premiums on them. So, I mean, I guess you could just buy the shares and play with it if it looks like fun. But yeah, I don't know. This one's getting more and more risky. But it's the GameStop big short squeeze, so you got to buy it. And whatever everyone's saying, all that nonsense. But yeah, I mean, this is a really cool story because it's exposed. I mean, everything that Robinhood has done, like a bunch of the stock exchanges had trading unavailable. I mean, I trade on E-Trade, and they stopped me from buying call options on Thursday. I was going to buy more when it was going down at close, and I couldn't trade like the second half of the whole day. And that's probably not because there's like collusion or something at E-Trade. I don't think so. Like the volatility went nuts, and they didn't have the money to cover the trades. So I mean, I think that's more of like a cash balance functional issue between them and the clearing houses and everything else. Because when you trade, it looks like it happens like immediately to you trading, but it really takes several days through different companies that have to work together, the clearing houses and everything. So that system's basically broke on Thursday. Like the system broke, and so I think it's a little bit scary. Like if you buy it and it goes up and the freaking exchange is just like, oh well, you can't sell it. Like that would throw the whole freaking world into like a rage. Like it would be it would be out of control. The media and the crowd response from something like that happening would be nuts. But it could happen. Like it could, who knows? It could freaking squeeze on a higher trend line and could go to 1,000 or 5,000. People are talking about crazy stuff, but like it could get up there and then you can't trade it and then it falls back down. People would be freaking out and going nuts. So that's possible over the next couple of weeks or today. But yeah, if you look at the little bubbles, like what usually happens is it bubbles off the trend line, comes back down, kind of plays around a little bit, bubbles off the trend line, comes back down, plays around a little bit, bubbles off the trend line, comes back down. But this is like a huge one, but it still looks like the same trend line. And so this takeoff here is probably the short selling here. And then this is just crazy volatility. And then we come back down and they'll probably sell shorts again. Like it'll probably run along the trend line and they'll have to close shorts again. Yeah, this is kind of the short selling, what it looks like. Like it kind of does these really choppy, like, spikes off of the trend line and then it comes back down. And so when it comes back down, they close the shorts up. But this is what it looks like to me. I think we'll get one or two more crazy, probably just one more big crazy one, because it looks like the short interest is like 50%. I expect one more crazy one, and these are getting like exponentially bigger, and the price has been going up from 30 to 70 to a couple hundred or something. I mean, if they're trying to close shorts at 200 or 300 over here somewhere, I mean, that's really expensive. So I could see this going over 1,000. That wouldn't surprise me at all. I did like a little bit of napkin math a couple days ago, and it was about 15 or 1,600 if you close all the shorts. But that was from 120% shorts, so I don't know, half of that or less. And then I don't know if there's more hype or hysteria, but I don't know. Some target around 6-ish or something wouldn't. I mean, if it takes off from here, I don't know. Whatever, 800 or 5,000, somewhere in there. If this thing goes crazy. Anyway, that's my outlook on it, and I think this is a pretty standard kind of bubble line, and this is what the kind of short selling activity. It's like these wide bubbles off the trend line, and it didn't pick up a higher angled trend line. It's stuck on this one, but this is really steep. I mean, it doesn't look steep because of the way that I have the chart zoomed in. I just kind of have it flattened out, but I mean, obviously, like this went from 30 to wherever 300 or something. Like this is a 10x move in just a couple of days, but it looks like it's not a steep trend line, but it is. It's like a 10x bubble trend line. Like it's nuts. And yeah, right in here, I think I'll buy some shares. If I get like 170, 180, something like that, I think I'm gonna grab some stuff and play with it. Yeah, so that's the whole GameStop thing. I don't know what to call this video, support area or something. Yeah, so that's cool. GameStop's crazy, and if this thing goes to a freaking 1,000 or something like that, it's going to be even a more nutty story in the news, especially if any of the markets close or break. Oh, and I guess what's the normal market doing? So just looking at the dollar overnight tonight broke out to the upside. It broke out of its consolidation zone, so a strong dollar move is bad for the general market. And then against the Japanese yen, it did a mean breakout above the moving average last night. So that's a weak market condition for the greater market. And into that weak market condition, the stock market rallied up while it was the dollar's breaking out. But I would expect this to come back down and test this thing. I guess I should do a dollar S&P something video after this, but yeah, that's what's happening right now. I'm looking at AG as a little bubble stock. Silver, like physical silver, looks like a long bull market thing. The whole stock market looks precarious, like it could come down. People are saying the stock market's crashing because of the short squeeze, and it's like a sell-off because of the short squeeze. But I think it's just general dollar conditions are going against the market right now, and they kind of switched just back here where this thing was topping. Like the dollar conditions switched, and it just started coming down a bit. I think we might be going into sort of a stagflation kind of, like growth is still going up, but it looks like the dollar started tightening a little bit. So you just kind of get choppy or sideways movement in the market if it's doing that. But we could see some sell-off stuff like that. Tesla, like the market gets weak, like Tesla could pull back. I think Michael Burry has been increasing his short positions in Tesla. The short interest is going away on Tesla. Like it's less than 6% or less than 5% short interest on Tesla. So that huge bubble run up on Tesla was pretty much a short squeeze and also a hype train. And the short you know, now it's at a ridiculous height and the short interest is pretty much gone. And now the market's aiming down. So I see a ton of risk in Tesla right now. Like that's a huge bubble thing that I am short. I have put options on Tesla right now. I'm looking at call options on AG, looking at buying shares of GameStop. And then AMC is sort of related to GameStop, and it sort of has a bull trend line. I trust this one much less, and the short interest on this was only 30%. When I saw the GameStop short interest at like 110%, this one was at like 30% or something. Like the whole short squeeze on this one, I think, is busted now, and it's way up off the trend line. So, I mean, this one looks like, unless it picks up a new trend line, this one looks like it's gonna fall to at least here and then maybe break through shortly after that. I don't trust the AMC thing. I mean, maybe a super short dated put down to the trend line or something. But again, like the gammas on these GameStop and AMC, like the not the gamma, the premiums are just so high that it's puts and calls on these things are dumb, and shorting shorting against the big short squeeze is kind of ridiculous in case it goes parabolic the other direction. You don't want to be short. The puts are stupidly expensive. I'm just staying away from AMC. I don't like it. It's not really part of the short squeeze. It was like 70% short to begin with. I mean, now, I mean, this rally could be people closing their shorts out right here. And but yeah, I mean, maybe you do short it now. Once all the short interest is gone, then you can actually short it. But that's a bold and expensive strategy with high premiums. But this is a good thing to point out, I guess, like for shorting it, a put option, if it went parabolic in the wrong direction with a normal short position, you would lose a mess of money and have margin calls and all that stuff. You can bankrupt your account. It's very dangerous. If you do a put, say you want to short against the big short squeeze because you're bold like that. A put option, you buy one put option, and if it happens, you make money. But if it goes parabolic the other direction, all you do is lose the price you paid for the option. So like if you win on the put option, you basically get to trade 100 shares. You get paid on 100 shares. And if it goes sideways or up, if you lose on the option, all you do is lose the price you paid for the option. It's like buying an insurance contract on a market crash. So if it doesn't crash, you lose your insurance premium that you paid. You buy the insurance policy. But if it does crash, then you get paid on your insurance policy. Basically, that's kind of like a put move. And I'm talking about a call option on GME and talking about a put option on AMC at the same time, just because it's where things are. And it would just be put down to support probably. And that's only, I mean, it could easily go up higher and still would probably come down to support. I don't think that's a good play. This is an expensive and silly trade, I think, to make, especially with looks like a aggressive uptrend here. So, I don't know if you want to, like, when it looks like it's holding this uptrend right now, but if it drove up and kind of broke down off the uptrend like Tesla did, let's look at Tesla real quick and see what it's doing. That could be a spot to go for puts. This was a GameStop video, right? I'm like just doing like everything for no reason. If you're still here, thanks. This is fun stuff. What do we want? Like daily candles. Let's check out Tesla. So this is what's up with Tesla. I mean, Tesla went on a freaking runner. It's on a double bubble right now, but it just broke down under the bubble trend line And as I was saying, I think we're just switched into different market conditions like a few days ago, and we're on a strong dollar trend. And I think we're positive growth or neutral growth. And now the dollar is like the economic conditions are tightening. So that's a downtrend. And I was saying there's no more short interest on Tesla now except for Michael Burry and or just like a couple crazy people like myself. I'm short Tesla right now. But yeah, I mean, look, it's just like way up on a double bubble, and we get like a rough market conditions. It could easily pull back to support here or down to the previous trend line. Now that it's broken underneath this one, and so that's kind of the play that I'm doing on Tesla right now. Which I have tried to short Tesla in the past. Like I shorted Tesla on the bear trap right here, and that was a very bad move. It's like exponential the other direction. But on a put, like that's how you do it. Like it got to a spot where it was squeezing, and I'm like, oh, this is either gonna explode down or up, and I'm like, should I do a call or a put here? And I was in the zone. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put this thing, and it was way wrong. But you just lose the price of the option. You don't like get squeezed out of your whole freaking account and go bankrupt. So that's kind of for vertical moves in the market, and I would consider this Tesla thing a vertical move. Yeah, puts and calls are awesome for vertical moves. If the market's moving sideways, puts and calls are absolutely terrible because you just perpetually lose money on the time. As time passes, your option just loses money. But if the market goes vertical, you get paid out exponentially for the vertical move. Yeah. So there's a lot of vertical moves setting up right now, and the market's switching market conditions. So yeah, so we have to figure out what looks like it's making sense right now, and nothing is making sense. That's what. Yeah. Well, screw the fundamentals. It just looks like there's a couple like bubbly looking takeoffs happening, and then potentially Tesla or maybe this is one that I shorted this one too. I have a little put option on this one for fun, but this is on a double bubble as well, and it hasn't actually broken down yet. But I just saw the whole market kind of breaking down, so I thought this would be an interesting short. This IWM has this is the Russell 2000, the small caps. So this is like small businesses, medium-sized businesses, which the news media has been saying like, small and medium businesses are in a ridiculous amount of trouble this entire time, and people have been shorted, and this is like a big short squeeze on the small and medium business stocks and stuff like that. But unless the companies are going out of business, it doesn't affect the stock at all. And this is just kind of a bubbly short squeeze against like what everyone thought fundamentally, like the businesses are in trouble, so the stock has to go down. Like, no, the businesses are in trouble, so people start shorting it, boom, and then you get a short squeeze. That's what happens. And now I would say the short interest on this is probably close to zero. But maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't look like it's broken down quite as much as like Tesla or something like that. But this one just looks like it's like out of control in bubble territory. But it may not crash here. It looks like it will. Anyway, that's some stuff. I don't know if I should do a whole market update. That's pretty much the market update. People probably be looking for this more than like a market crash video anyway. Yeah, anyway, this is my GameStop market tracker, and that was the thing, not financial advice. Like button, check out my playlist, whatever. Cheers.